Yeah, fine. So I'm Tim. My name's Tim. Am I talking to camera? Sorry, I've really messed this up already. We're mainly talking to each other.
Talking to each other, yeah.
But at this point, it felt weird to not address the camera, but I don't do that. I'm just
Yeah.
Okay, go again.
Welcome to this week's episode of On Course to Recovery, where we are swapping sides of the sofa to hear the story of our very own host.
Yeah, so I'm Tim. I'm a trainee vicar, and we know each other from church. So we first met at church. Kieran comes to our church, and my relationship to you, I mean, we've been getting to know each other, but also talking loads over the last year or so about faith and Jesus and who Jesus is and what it means to follow Jesus. And that's been a big part of your recovery and your journey and your story too. So
100%, almost working with me like, I'd call it like a spiritual guru, Tim.
Okay.
Is what I'd call it.
A guru, yeah.
Yeah. The reason I asked you is because like you've played a massive part in my life. Like I've got a bit recovery behind myself, but I've never really like dug deep on what I really suffer from and what I really struggle with. And those battles I have really with myself in terms of why I feel so empty inside, why I use drinking drugs. And I work with a therapist and I work with you, and you help me from like a spiritual background and a spiritual basis. But yeah, I think in my growth in the last 2 years, I think, 2 years of being in recovery now. So like, yeah, in that time, we've like really spent a good amount of time together where I'm building myself, not just like mentally, physically, but the spiritual side of things as well.
Sure. So Kieran, like you said, it's a little bit weird because this episode is not really about me. This is about you. You're on the other side of the sofa. And so let's kick off by tell us a little bit, what was life like for you before addiction? What did life look like?
Before addiction, my life was actually really good. Like there's a lot of people that come on and sit on the sofa and tell us that they've had really traumatic upbringings and really traumatic lives. And had a lot of trauma, and that's why they went into it. And like, I don't know if I was born with this disease or if I wasn't. There's a lot of this disease in our family. There's a lot of, we have people in our family that struggle with addiction, but I wouldn't say I was born with it, but I had everything when I was growing up. I had all the nice shoes, everything I could have wanted as a kid. Do you know what I mean? I went on all the nice holidays. My mum and dad are still in a relationship now that like I had a lot of stability as a child. But yeah, there was nothing really that like I can think of that put me into addiction. But as I was growing up, I always felt almost like, I always describe it as I was always at the front but always felt at the back. And like I never felt like I fitted in. I always felt like I needed to be accepted or prove to people that I was worthy of being in that place. Do you know what I mean? And always try to like get people to laugh at me or feel acceptance from people. And to be honest, Tim, I struggle with that still today. But my life growing up was amazing. There was nothing in my life that would have set me onto a path of addiction. But as everyone does, you experiment in these drugs, and it really just took over my life. There was one poignant moment in my life that made me think maybe I'm different. Maybe I've got a problem with drugs and alcohol. And it come at like summer holidays. I must have been year 10, year 11, and I'd come back from a summer holiday and sat in a science class with my friends, and they said to me, "Where have you been all summer?" And I'd been in like a 1-bed flat, and the kitchen, the bathroom, and the bed were all in one flat. And I was sat in there for I don't know how many days with some real dangerous people, people that come out of prison. And I'd been sniffing a drug called MCAT and drinking vodka, like neat vodka, at the age of 13, 14 years old. And at that point, when people then said to me, "You're joking," and I I thought that was cool. Do you know what I mean? I thought my friends would say, "Oh wow, Kieran, that's cool." That's not the response I got.
Yeah.
The response was, "What are you doing?" And that point there, Tim, was when I was like, "Wow, I'm different." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing is, I had a drug inside me and a drink inside me where I was in such an unsafe situation and felt so safe. Like there was danger all around me, and because I had a drink and drug inside me, and I just felt safe, and that's how drugs made me feel.
And it was so you said you probably first interacted with drugs and alcohol 12, 13, and then that story there, you're 13, 14, right? So quite quickly from that first encounter with drugs and alcohol to being in a flat for the whole summer, like,
Yeah.
was it quite quick?
Yeah, it was quick. It was quick. Like the change of drugs turned quickly, but from like 14 to 18, there was like moments. Do you know what I mean? There was like smoke the odd joint or have a little bit of MCAT or Coke or whatever. And Coke was the real drug that took over my life, but I didn't really find that switch until I was probably 18, because you know, you go through that period where you're like learning to drive and like all the distractions of life, and I got my first job and all of that stuff kind of like kept the drugs and alcohol at bay for a while, where I was just doing it like maybe a Friday night or a Saturday night, and then it would stop, and then I'd have like a month clean or a month sober, but 18 was the turning point for me, where it really kicked in, because you're at that legal age of drinking, and I went out, used to drink, and I couldn't drink. So I'd have 3 or 4 pints and I'd be smashed. And then I realised, if I had 3 or 4 pints and a line of Coke, I could have another 3 or 4 pints, and then another line of Coke, and then I could stay out and drink, and I could hang around with all the older people, and I could stay out the longest, and it really grew my drinking career. Do you know what I mean? And I was just like, this is great. This is amazing. I feel like I've arrived, and it gave me that sense of comfort and confidence that I could like go and chat to anyone and stand at the bar with a 60-year-old and have a chat about anything. Do you know what I mean? And it really gave me the confidence. And Tim, I had great times, really, really great times drinking and using. I did at the start. Cocaine gave me everything, but then at the end it takes away everything. And my drinking and using started really fun, and like going to kitchen parties and drinking on a Friday and Saturday, have no consequences, go to work on a Monday. But for people like me, that's not how it ends. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then quickly every single day. And like there wasn't any consequences for a while. I had a really good job, which was pretty much handed to me. And then it just got worse and worse, and I wasn't turning up to work. When I was turning up to work, I was turning up late. And then straight away, it's like I got to like lockdown, and lockdown got really dark for me. And my boss at the time gave me a choice. He said, you either stop taking drugs or you lose your job. And by this time, I'd been kicked out of my mum and dad's house. I wouldn't say kicked out, but I'd moved out to try and make my using a lot easier for myself. And I'd moved into my cousin's and was using that place like a hotel. And I've hurt so many people with my using, Tim. Like, I've had really good relationships with women and who bent over backwards for me and done everything they could for me. And I just didn't care, because drugs and alcohol was up here and everything else was down there. If you land it on the green, it's not like normal golf. So if you land it on the green, on the green, it will judge whether it's a par or a birdie.
Okay, great.
All right. So it's just landing it somewhere on the green, 106 yards.
Easy peasy.
Should be. That's really long.
Whoa.
It's on the green now. We'll take it.
That's good. That's good.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Par. Right. So I'll give you a different club.
Well, what's that?
This is a pitching wedge. How far do you hit a pitching wedge?
I don't know. I haven't played golf in a long time.
All right.
I'll try a pitching wedge.
Try a pitching wedge. He's got a setup. He pretended he didn't know what he's doing.
Oh no, I've played golf before. I just forgotten that we were playing golf.
Topped it.
I totally
That's
topped
okay.
that. 9 yards.
We'll have another
Do I go again or you get
You
to?
go again.
All right.
I finished the hole.
Yeah, you have. That's better.
Oh, look at that. That's pure.
That's better.
You struck on the green.
Very good.
Should have done that the first time. I believed for a long time I had two choices when I woke up in the morning. It was either to die or to use. And I didn't see that tunnel vision that was just like, I can't see any way out. I can't see any way out. They're the two choices I had in my life. And in that moment, I didn't see any way out and tried to end my life and wrote a letter that I left on my cousin's kitchen table and took copious amounts of tablets to try and kill myself. And thank God I'm here today to tell this story. But and I'd love to say that moment was the turning moment in my life where I was like, right, this is it. I'm gonna change my ways. My mum and dad come and pick me up after my cousin ringing them and telling them about this note that I left, and they come pick me up and took me home, and I spent 3 months of lockdown sat indoors with my mum, rightly trying to stop me from going out, and she got me a therapist, and I'm all for therapy now, but at that time it just didn't work for me. I sat behind a screen sniffing cocaine while listening to this therapist, and then at the end, back 2 months, I probably had a little tiny bit of clean time, and I thought I was cured. I thought this illness is gone, and I just left there and went, got myself a job over the hospital, and within a month of me working there, someone offered me cocaine, and I was back off and running again. And it got worse. It got a lot worse. If it couldn't get worse than what it was already, it got worse because everyone knew I had a problem, Tim. So instantly, it's straight away, I have to do all my using behind closed doors because people would pull me up on my problems, right? So they'd say to me, oh, you're meant to be in recovery, or you're an addict, you can't come and drink, and people would keep a close eye on me. So instantly it got a lot darker because all I could think about was, I can't show people that I'm using. I can't show people that I'm still using and stuff like that. So instantly it was all behind closed doors, and instantly it got a lot more independent, a lot more behind closed doors and dark. And I just tried my best to hide my addiction. Us addicts are very, very sick people, and I didn't realise I suffered with an illness. I just thought, I just choose to take drinking drugs. But that was for a period, and then when I'm crying into lines of cocaine and not wanting to do it anymore and asking myself every morning, why do I do this? I understood that it is an illness. I'm using against my will. But it got really dark, and until the back end of my using, it was September 2023, and I'd done like a 6 week with no sleep and every day using, and my mind was just completely gone. And I don't know how, if someone found me, I probably would have been in a mental institute, because the things I was seeing, the things I was hearing was so real. I remember I'd moved out and I was living with my friend at the time, and I was looking out the window and I honestly saw out that window things that were completely real. And I was running up and down the street in my boxers thinking that something was happening outside, and people were breaking into the house, and people were stood at the end of my bed, and just through lack of sleep and the amount of drugs I was putting in my body. And I knew it was going to come to a head, and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. On the last 6 weeks of my using, I remember looking at an Instagram page, and it's a guy called Dapper Laughs, and he used to do a lot on, he called himself the Sesh Gremlin and done like a character for that, and he was like real party animal. And then I looked on his page one day, and he had this podcast called Menace to Sobriety, and I thought, what's going on here? So I clicked on it, and I clicked on the first episode on his podcast, and this is what's inspired me to do what I'm doing today. I found recovery through a podcast. If I can help someone else, through what we're doing here, then that's great.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's enough out there. There's a lot of stuff like on TikTok and places like that, but I don't think there's enough, especially people of my age. Do you know what I mean? That show that recovery is possible. And I looked at this episode, and it was a guy called Kirk Norcross from The Only Way is Essex. And I remember him telling a story, and it took me about 2 weeks to listen to this full podcast. And he literally told my story. I was listening to about 15 minutes a day, because that's what time it took me to drive from my house to my drug dealer's house before I went to work. So I was listening to 15-minute snippets every day. Mm-hmm. And then one day I listened to the whole thing on my way to where I was working, and I was like, he's just told my story. He used like me. Now he's 2.5 years clean. And how did he do that? I come home one day after using all day, and I just was like, there was a turning point in my life where I went, I have to stop. Otherwise I'm going to kill myself. Not even by suicide, but by the amount of drugs I'm putting in my body. And I went to the meeting the next night. And that's where my recovery journey started. Like, through hearing that podcast gave me a name of somewhere I could feel like I always felt like the minority in life. But today, through going to a recovery program, I feel like the majority in that room. And that ease and comfort that drugs used to give me, I feel by sitting in that room and speaking to those people today. Like, I walked into that room and thought, no one's going to understand me. No one's been where I've been. And I had a 5-minute conversation. And that feeling I used to get from drinking drugs, I had within 5 minutes of walking into that room. Sit down.
Very good.
Sit.
Nice.
Ah, nice birdie.
Birdie. Good stuff.
Right. Come on, Tim.
So what's it? 135 again?
135. I've hit an 8 iron, but I didn't hit it like full swing. So I've like kind of 3/4 swinged it.
Okay.
Nice.
How's that?
Big bounce.
Ooh,
Go on the
bit
green.
short,
Oh,
bit
you
short.
might have to chip
Do another
that.
one.
Do you want a
Yeah.
wedge?
Yeah, I'll take a wedge.
There's a 60-degree.
The thing whenever I've played golf that always let me down,
That's
which I'm
a very good swing.
glad
Tim.
we're not doing today, is putting. I can hit the ball okay, but then whenever it came to putt, I would always take so many
Putting's hard.
shots.
Oh, it's not bad.
No, I know.
It's okay.
I got in my own head about you being stood there, and then
You again, mate. You've got 98. So, pitch and wedge.
and it's not just your face; it's your camera. I'm worried about as well. Yeah.
The kindness of
They can do wonders with a face now, but a new camera's quite expensive.
Teletech guy.
We know, 98. Okay.
Oh, bit hooky, Tim.
Very hooky.
It's okay. You only got a little wedge in now.
Looky, I got hooky. So, Kieran, you've shared your journey into addiction, and you've just started to talk about like how you stepped into recovery, how you began that journey. What does life look like now? Like, what does it look like? What has that journey of recovery for you been like?
It's amazing. Like, it's amazing to be able to have this opportunity to be free of the obsession. It's sometimes I've got to pinch myself that my life looks like it does today and not like it did before. What does recovery look like for me today? Like, I remember going into a meeting and someone saying to me, "You're going to have a life beyond your wildest dreams." And I said, what does that look like? Because when I walked into the room, the only thing I wanted was just to be freed of the obsession of drinking and using. And yes, you get all the materialistic things back in life. I'm back at the job that sacked me. Like, that's amazing. I've got my own place. That's amazing. But what matters for me today is having my family back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not upsetting anyone today. or try not to upset anyone. And listen, I'm riddled with defects of character that I still have to get over today and try to keep at bay today, because that's what we do. We try and work on ourselves. We don't just get clean and sober, we work on ourselves. And yes, I've hurt people in recovery, but I try not to do that today. But like, it's the little things in life, Tim. Like going and walking the dog with my mum, that's amazing. Having a relationship back with my brother, that's amazing, because he spent his whole life trying to help me, and I just thought he was a hindrance. But he loved me, and that's what all he was trying to do. He just tried to help me, and I've got a relationship with him, like going and playing golf with my dad, going to watch football with my dad, that's amazing. Going to play golf with my brother and like go around his house, and he trusts me to stay in his house, like he'd never done that before. Having a phone call with my mum in the mornings, and I speak to my mum so regularly now, go around for dinner, and there's no worry in her voice when I ring her. Like, how much do you owe a drug dealer today, Kieran? What money do I need to give you? Am I dead? I remember my mum having to come to a hospital bed where I'd been knocked out in town, and I woke up in the hospital just looking at the end of my bed to see my mum in tears. Like, that doesn't have to be possible today. Yeah. Because I don't have to do that. Yeah. I've got a choice today, whether I drink or use or what kind of person I'm going to be.
And that, having your family around you, having community around you, friends around you, you know, you described at your lowest that sense of like real isolation, like all the stuff that drugs and alcohol gave you, being back at the front, like you've arrived, and then you're all the way at the back again, even further back, feeling isolated. Like, how does it feel now? What's changed?
There's two parts to that, Tim. I think, like, I spent a whole lot of my life from childhood all the way up with a hole in my soul. That's how I feel. I see it as a hole in my soul. And that's filled today. And we do a lot of work, and I found God, and I've got a relationship with Jesus today. And there's a lot. I talk about it as like a passage towards your hole in your soul, and that needed filling for a long time. And cocaine and drugs and alcohol done that for me for a long time. Temporarily filled this hole, and I can still today try and temporarily fill this hole that only God can for me. And it's clear away all those passages towards that hole in your soul by becoming a better person, by sticking with the right people. And I think that's what you mentioned as well. Like, what does my community look like today? My community, I try and surround myself with good people. Like it says in the Bible, iron sharpens iron. And I've always said, like, someone told me in my early recovery, stick with the winners. And that's what I try to do today. And by sticking with the winners, they rub off on me, and I become a better person in that. And they grow me. They push me to be a better person. They pick me up on stuff I'm not doing right. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If I'm sinning or I'm acting in a different way, that they pick me up on that stuff. Do you know what I mean? And my circle's very small today. Very small. And it consists of people from church, it consists of people from recovery, and it consists of about 4 or 5 friends that I had before I went into recovery. Yeah. And I'm okay with that today. Yeah. And I'm at the happiest I've ever been, because I'm around these people who push me and grow me. Like you when we sit down once a month and I tell you how chaotic my life has been, and you say to me, right, let's try and work on this area of your life or this area of your life. Do you know what I mean? You grow me closer to God, and that's ultimately how I'm growing today, to try and be a better person every single day.
What are the structures that you've got in place that help you stay in recovery, and not just stay in recovery, but like you've said, like growing towards being a better version of yourself?
Discipline. Discipline's a massive area of my life. Like, it sounds mad, but like what I eat, how many times a week I train, and what I do waking up in the morning is ultimately how my week's going to go. So like, my mornings look like meditation, prayer, gratitude, reaching out to other people in recovery, or reaching out to people who aren't in recovery. Yeah. Because it's not about, everyone can come into recovery, go to church on a Sunday morning and be this amazing person, and show this amazing mask. But it's not about what you do in church or in recovery, it's what you do outside of it. Yeah. For me. Because I can I've put masks on my whole life. I'm really good at it. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's taking off these masks and actually being that person, not just on a Sunday and a Wednesday night at a meeting. It's being it from Monday to Sunday.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
and that's what it's all about. And like my routine and my structure is massive in my life.
Yeah.
And I have set things I do in the morning and set things I do at night.
Yeah.
And meditation for me, like I spent a lot of my time in recovery wondering why I didn't feel any peace and didn't feel any, like, I was just still a little bit chaotic. And until I brought meditation in, and meditation hasn't got to be sitting with your arms and your legs crossed and listening to that. It's any choice that slows my brain down.
Yeah.
And that for me is what's really important. Like, I'm 100 miles per hour when I wake up in the morning, and I have to slow things down. I have to hand my will and my life over to God every morning, because in my will, I've got no chance.
And there's a restlessness. I think, again, what you're describing is not just unique of people who've had addiction or been through recovery, but all of us. Perhaps it's more obvious and more apparent to those who've had the similar journey to you. But all of us, there's this restlessness in human beings that, like, and again, that hole you describe in the soul, like there's this cravings in us to fill a void all the time. And again, the Christian perspective, the faith angle on it is that, like, that restlessness is filled with a relationship with God. It's because we're yearning to, I think it was St. Augustine, I'm going to get roasted if this is wrong, but there's this famous quote where it says, "Our souls are restless until they find rest in you." I think it was St. Augustine that said that. But it's just this idea that we as human beings are restless, we're yearning, we're striving, and there's chaos and we've got competing desires and goals and agendas all the time. But real peace can come from knowing God, that we find rest in the person of Jesus and a relationship with him.
Yeah, and I think, like, what I try and think about and what's really poignant in my life is be still and know that I'm God. Because I run 100 miles per hour all the time. I hand my wheel over at 6:30 in the morning, and I've picked it back up at 10:30.
Yeah.
And then wonder why my day's gone so badly.
Yeah.
But when I'm trying not to fill that hole in my soul with other things, and I do, and I get caught in it all the time, and I have to stop and hand it back, because I can fill it with, like, all the materialistic things of the world all the time. But that's temporary fixes don't get me nowhere, Tim.
Yeah.
And we've had many a conversation about this, and it's like, when I hand it over and when I am still and hand it to God, my life seems to go okay. It's when I start taking it back that it starts going a little bit more chaotic.
Yeah.
I don't do it for a day and then I'm all right for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
I've got to practice that every day, and I've built a routine that works for me.
Yeah.
And that routine might not work for someone else, but it works for me.
Yeah.
And I used to have, I remember I used to have, like, this big long list. It was like this long, and I had to try and get through all of it. And I remember having a conversation with me, like, why are you doing so much? Like, and I was like, yeah, probably. And I'd beat myself up. I'd be like, I'd have to give myself like an hour and a half in the morning and an hour and a half at night. But, like, I just give up 45 minutes of my morning and 45 minutes of my evening. And, like, what recovery has done for me, which I've found is, and I say this all the time, it's like, I've given up 2 things for everything. Or, and I've got everything now. Or I give up everything for drink and drugs, which is 2 things. And, like, that's a stupid decision. If you're not willing to give up those 2 things for your whole life, like, like, it's 2 things I've got to give up for everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Life's amazing today. It really is. Nice. Really nice.
Yeah.
Look at that.
There we go.
You stiffed
Recovered it.
Made bogey the same as me. Thank you very much, Tim.
Great.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. Good fun. So, Kieran, if you had to give one piece of advice based on, like, all that you shared and your story so far, if you had to give one bit of advice to someone who is struggling right now, what would it be?
I think my advice would be like, don't think your life is over by coming into recovery, because I certainly did. I thought my whole social life, I didn't have a social life, but I come into recovery thinking my social life would be gone. I didn't realise that I could go to the pub and not have a drink, or go anywhere without drinking or using. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't think I could face life without a drink and drug inside of me. But it's so not true. And especially people my age, they all think there's this big, like, thing around people at our age, it's accepted. Do you know what I mean? People like in their 20s, they're like, oh, don't worry, they're enjoying their life. They're only going to the pub and having a few beers and a bit of gear. No. Your life is not over. Come into recovery as early as you can and find this stuff and watch your life transform. Do you know what I mean? The longer you're in recovery, the better life you've got, the more life you've got. Do you know what I mean? And this stuff's dangerous. What they're putting in drinking drugs, and you never know when it's your last line. Do you know what I mean? It's a matter of life or death, drinking drugs. And I've got it all. There's nothing I can't do. When I'm spiritually fit, there's nothing I can't do in life. Like, your life will not be over. I can go. Last year I went out for Christmas. Christmas Eve, went out with my mates who were drinking and had a really good evening. New Year's Eve I was out in a pub and I didn't have to pick up a drink or drug. I've just been to Tenerife on a lad's holiday for a week. Like, I didn't have to drink or use in that time. Do you know what I mean? I can do anything that I was doing before, right? And do exactly the same, have exactly the same enjoyment, and just not have to put a drink and drug inside of me. So please do not think your life is over when you come into recovery. Your life is only just beginning. Like, I didn't have a life before. What life have I got hidden in my room with the door shut, holding the door because I was so paranoid and twitching up the curtains? What life is that?
Yeah.
I've got a life today. I can go anywhere with anyone and do anything and not have to put a drink and drug inside me today. Like, if that's not enough, like, please don't get put off. We're not a glum bunch. We have a really good time in recovery. I do amazing things in recovery. And yes, it's serious. And yes, it's a matter of life or death and stuff, but we can have a laugh. And I have a life today. I have my family back. I have everything that I've ever wanted. And that's not a nice car, 5-bedroom house, and all the things that I thought was the dream. The dream is I get up in the morning and I don't have to drink or use. And that obsession is not on me. So yeah, that would be my advice. Come into recovery and don't think your life's over. Your life is literally only just beginning. If you felt touched by anything that was said in this episode or know a family member or friend who may be struggling, please feel free to give us a message on any of our platforms. Us at On Course to Recovery would love to help point you in the right direction. We hope you enjoyed the episode and hope to catch you in the next one.
We would like to thank New Forest Pointing for sponsoring this episode. If you reach out to them and speak to Louis, he will take care of any of your bricklaying or pointing needs.